The Quran. For billions of people, it's a sacred guide, a source of incredible wisdom, a text that's been studied and recited for well over 1,000 years. But today, we're going to look a little deeper. We're going on a hunt for a kind of hidden signature, a numerical pattern that one pretty speculative text claims is woven right into the fabric of the scripture.
The Quran itself gives you this powerful image to describe its own depth. It basically says, hey, if all the oceans in the world were ink, you still couldn't write down all of my meaning. It's this idea of an inexhaustible word, a sea of meaning with infinite layers.
So if the meaning is infinite, what about the structure? What if underneath all the stories and the laws and the theology, there's a precise mathematical key? A kind of deliberate code left by the author? Well, that's the mystery we're diving into today.
And here it is. According to this work we're looking at, this is the key. 237. Not just some random number, but a deliberate signature. But a signature of what? And how on earth could you even begin to prove something like that?
Okay, first stop. This is called the count of humanity, and this is presented as the absolute bedrock of the whole theory.
The claim is incredibly direct. It says that the Arabic root for words like human or mankind shows up a very specific number of times across all 114 chapters of the Quran. And that number? You guessed it, exactly 237.
And you gotta understand, this is the foundation. This isn't a symbolic reading or some kind of creative interpretation. The source claims this is an empirical fact, a physical count that you can go and check for yourself across authenticated manuscripts. It's the anchor that connects the number directly to the subject of the book, which is humanity.
All right, but one data point, no matter how interesting, isn't really enough, is it? So the theory brings in two other paths that supposedly lead to the exact same number.
So what's wild is just how different these paths are. On one hand, you have the cipher of revelation. This uses an ancient system called abjad, where Arabic letters have number values, and a very specific kind of esoteric calculation of these mysterious letters that open some chapters, well, it allegedly equals 237. And on the other hand, you have the architecture of light. This is totally different. It's a phonetic breakdown of one of the most famous verses in the entire Quran, claiming it's built from exactly 237 units of sound.
So let's just pause on that for a second. A simple word count for human, a mystical numerological cipher, and the sound structure of a famous verse about divine light. According to the source, the fact that these three totally unrelated methods all converge on 237, that's the evidence. That's what suggests this isn't a coincidence, but a deliberate divine pattern.
Okay, so what are we supposed to make of all this? Is this solid proof? Is it beautiful poetry? Or maybe it's a bit of both?
What's really cool is how the analysis of this work is refreshingly honest about all this. It calls the word count the strongest piece of evidence because it's empirical. I mean, it's either right or it's wrong, you can check it. But it calls the abjad calculation highly speculative, basically an esoteric leap. And the phoneme count, well, that's called highly subjective, because the final tally really depends on which specific rules of recitation you choose to follow. And that distinction is crucial.
Ultimately, the analysis puts this whole thing into a specific genre. It's not theology, it's not science, it's called creative mysticism. The goal here isn't to create some new dogma that everyone has to believe. No, the whole point is to use these patterns to inspire a sense of awe, to get you to look at the text in a totally new way, and to spark a personal journey of reflection.
And that brings us to the final section, and maybe the whole point of this key, unlocking the reader.
This right here is the big takeaway. The number 237 isn't some password to a secret message hidden in the Quran. It's a tool that's designed to change the person who's reading it. It's a contemplative device meant to make you pay attention to the text on this incredibly deep structural level.
So at the end of the day, the number itself is kind of secondary. The real goal is to inspire a whole new way of reading, to get you to approach the text with this assumption that every single detail, every letter, every sound is just loaded with potential meaning. It's really an invitation to wonder.
So you see, the number isn't the destination. It's a doorway. It's not an answer you're supposed to just accept. It's the first question that's being asked of you, the reader, a question that turns you away from the book and back towards your own origin, your own existence. Just a really fascinating and thought-provoking way to engage with a sacred text.